Investigators' biggest problem? No Zahra Baker.
You state your name, please.
She was reported missing Saturday afternoon. She may have been missing much longer.
Lisa Baker, cuffed in that pink jumpsuit.
Police thought the stepmom's story didn't add up from the beginning.
She's determined. She wants to go to college. She can hear now. It's been a blessing.
Police say Zahra's stepmom has not been truthful.
Police found a ransom note on the windshield of a car doused in gasoline.
Lisa Baker admitted to writing the ransom note.
Canines gave positive alert for the presence of human remains.
Changed their investigation from a missing child to a homicide. Had no idea how long she'd been missing or possibly how long she's been dead.
We are taking your calls live at this hour. As we go to air tonight, we'll show you the aerial video. A pond is being drained. A pond that is adjacent next to the father's work site. Also, canine cadaver dogs hitting on an industrial wood chipper used by the father. I'm going to go back quickly to Natisha Lance. She's standing by there at the pond draining site. Natisha, what do you see?
Nancy, the pond area is about 1/10 of a mile away from us, but we do know that they are still back there searching this pond area. Again, they will be there as long as it takes. They are looking for a body. That is what prompted this search. Again, they were led there because Adam Baker, the father of Zahra Baker, has ties to this location. Also, just as you stated before, cadaver dogs, reports of cadaver dogs hitting on a wood chipper in this search location. We also spoke to a neighbor who said that police told him they had found blood and they had come back to find more evidence that could corroborate that.
To Mark Harold, former officer with the Atlanta PD, attorney, author of Observations of White Noise. Mark, joining us out of D.C., how difficult is a night search?
Well, a night search is very difficult for all the reasons you can imagine. It's hard to communicate. It's hard to see. You know, they could drag the pond, they could search the pond. The fact that they're actually draining the pond, the hardest thing to do, especially at night, makes me think there's really something that they think is there and they have some evidence that tells them it is.
I'm going to go back to the stepmother, younger sister joining us, Carrie Fairchild. Just as we were going to break, Carrie, you told us that a little over a year ago you had a big falling out with the stepmom. Why?
Well, she just done her father real wrong. They come back from Australia and moved in with him, and they just said they paid the bills and didn't, and it just, everything got cut off on him and everything, and half of the family just had a falling out with her over it, and we didn't.
Carrie, why do they move so much? Why do they move from place to place?
She's always done that. I do not know.
You know, I've got another question out to you, John Miller, standing by at the family home there in Hickory, North Carolina. We are waiting as we go to air, as we broadcast live tonight, to find out the results of this pond draining. A pond being drained adjacent to a work site of the father's. As you know, he's a landscaper, a tree trimmer, and apparently now canine dogs have hit on an industrial wood chipper the father had access to, the father used in his line of business. John Miller, I want to go back to what, if anything, we have learned about Zahra's home life.
Well, one of the things that we've learned is we've got more information now about before she came here to the United States, about her bouts with cancer, when she was born. She was born in Wagga Wagga, Queensland, Australia, and had a very happy life there, even though she was diagnosed for cancer and treated there. Her family moved here in 2008 to Granite Falls, and that's really their first instance here in the United States where this story began to unfold. But it really began to unfold badly once they got here to the United States. Prior to that, apparently she had a very happy life with her grandmother and other people in Australia.
She was living with her grandmother, isn't that correct, Ellie?
Nancy, her dad had moved to the town where the grandparents lived to get a job, and she was raised essentially by her grandmother there in Australia.
You know, Ellie, the ransom note is just ridiculous. To suggest somebody wants $1 million from a family that's barely making ends meet. Did the stepmother even work?
No, from everybody, what everybody's telling us, she was a stay-at-home mom, didn't work.
So she what, just stayed home to mistreat the 10-year-old?
Well, and she was apparently also on MySpace a lot, posting about her mysterious illnesses as well.
And tell me, what did we learn from the stepmother's MySpace account?
Well, Nancy, she has a post on there where she claims that she has a rare disease with no cure. She also said that she'd had brain cancer 3 times. She has things like Rob Zombie songs, Skull and Crossbones. She talks about how she's goth and proud of it. And she also complains about how, you know, her family hasn't stuck by her, that she can't trust them except for her husband.
You know, a lot of people are now wondering, and Mark Klass brought this up earlier, just how desperate the father's search for the little girl is. Mark Klass, president and founder of Klass Kids Foundation, did you hear the sheriff state he's not convinced the father is cooperating fully?
Well, he certainly did, and the stepmother just stated that he is the only person that she can fully trust. And again, this just does not make this man look good. They should have left this little girl in Australia to be raised by her grandmother. Then she would have had a chance. This poor child has not had a chance. God, Nancy, it's evil. It's just downright evil, the way this woman lives her life, the way she treats other people. And one has to ask oneself, where's the joy in that kind of a life? What kind of satisfaction can you get out of treating people cruelly and potentially even ultimately murdering them? It's just awful.
Mark Klass, everyone, president and founder of Klass Kids Foundation, when you are referring to the way little Zahra was treated by her stepmother, what specifically are you referring to?
Well, there's the black eye that we've seen. There are the instances of people seeing this little girl being force-marched on a prosthetic leg. You know, there's the idea that this woman, with all of this other horrible stuff going on in her life, was somehow homeschooling this little girl. The fact that this poor little girl has she's had cancer all of her life, she's gone deaf, she's living on one leg, she's being treated badly by this mother. The father seems to be either complicit or completely ignorant of everything, and that's kind of hard to believe at this point. And now where are we? We are at a point where they're draining a pond in the middle of the night trying to look for her remains.
You know, Mark, I had someone that, well, many stories have been reported to me, not all that I can report on air, but I learned, Mark Klass, that her happiest times would be when she would go visit a relative or a friend, and then when it would get time to go home, Zahra would run to the back of the house and hide and refuse to come out to go home, and would start yelling, I hate you, to everybody that was making her go home to her mommy. She did not want to go home to the stepmother, and would cry and hide at other people's homes when it was time to go home. You know, Mark, when I go pick up the twins from play school, they see me at the end of the hall and they start running, and it's all I can do. We're not supposed to go past a certain point to not run to them, and they run full speed. I brace myself when they're gonna hit. This little girl would go hide in other people's homes when it was time to go home to her stepmother.
And you know, Nancy, there were reports. There were reports to the Department of Family Services, and apparently they were ignored. Somebody should have intervened on this child's behalf. That's what we're supposed to do as a society. And again, it's just another failure.
And here we are, like you said, Mark Klass, in the middle of the night, draining a pond and searching a wood chipper. Unleash the lawyers. Joey Jackson, defense attorney, New York. Hugo Rodriguez, defense attorney, Miami. All right, Hugo, give me your best shot. What's your best defense for stepmommy?
Right now, she's a very troubled woman who obviously has stepped right on it. The extortion letter, the demand letter, inculpates her as to that. Someone asked before, is she cooperating any further? Now she's been lawyered up. She's obviously a focus. We don't know what else she's done. The father is also a target. He hasn't been seriously looked at. He is being looked at. He hasn't been charged, but he is a focus of their investigation.
Well,
this
Joe
child hasn't been seen for 30 days.
If the stepmother admits to writing this phony $1 million ransom note, then obviously she's implicated in the little girl's disappearance.
Well, I don't think so. I think there's a different issue. Why? People panic. People have fear. There could be many reasonable explanations as to why she wrote the ransom note.
Jackson,
Maybe she felt
Rodriguez,
that if she didn't do it...
a fire at the home. The little girl gets
This girl
kidnapped,
has not
and
been
there's a
seen.
ransom note in 24
This
hours.
girl has not been seen for 30 days.
Perhaps she thought if she wrote the note, people would unfairly focus on her. There's a logical explanation. We're rushing to judgment.
Yeah, well, the one you just gave me didn't make much sense.
Police looking for signs of remains.
We've got a large area to search here.
They hit on a wood chipper. They searched this site before.
Number of patrol cars lined up around that bend.
Seems that the information keeps leading back to this location, and we're going to be here until we rule it out.